We're talking SEC football here on Southeastern 14. I'm Chase Robinson. Thanks for hanging out with us once again. We're going to continue our three biggest games in the SEC for each team, and we're going to talk LSU Tigers today. So we'll look at the three biggest games for the Tigers coming up in 2024. But first, I want to remind you about Bet Online, your number one source for all of your summer sports this season. From MLB to golf to NBA to NHL, all the latest stats, news, and scores available to you there. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. So for the LSU Tigers, another year under Brian Kelly. They did not have the season I think they expected or wanted last year. They had the best player in the country in Jaden Daniels. There's no doubt about that, leading the team there at quarterback. They didn't have a good defense. They didn't have the pieces they needed around Jaden Daniels for it to show on the win column. And so they've spent the offseason putting the pieces together offensively around Garrett Nussmeier, the pieces they need on defense to help that side of the ball succeed. And so I think this season's very important for Brian Kelly. In year one, he took them to the SEC championship. Again, last year they didn't have the season they expected. And I think this is to keep excitement around the LSU program. They need to have a good season this year. And I think they can. I really do. Again, there's a lot to learn about this team, but I think they can pick up some wins. I think their schedule is in a way that they can get some wins. Here, in my opinion, is the three biggest SEC games for LSU coming up in 2024. And we'll start with Ole Miss at LSU, that coming up on October the 12th. I feel like every year this game is one of the most high-scoring, entertaining SEC games on the schedule. 2 years ago, it was LSU mounting that huge comeback win on LSU. Last year, it was Ole Miss with a 55-49 win as they held off a comeback by the Tigers. They deflected that pass into the end zone to hold off a LSU win. So Ole Miss got the win last year. And this is a year, there's no doubt about it, that Ole Miss has got a really good, deep roster. They have a chance to do some big things. I think there's no doubt they're going to be a pretty good football team and a contender for the college football playoff. So with Ole Miss coming to Baton Rouge once again, that is a tough place to play. We know that. I feel like anytime LSU has a home game, that it could definitely go in the Tigers' favor. So they got Ole Miss coming to LSU. This will just be the second conference game for LSU at this point of the season. In 2024, they have got South Carolina in week 3 of the season. So if LSU can get a win against Ole Miss at home, I think that's going to be huge and really help them in the long run of the 2024 season. But it's always a fun game. Ole Miss is going to be loaded this year, and but with it being in Baton Rouge, I think it gives LSU a pretty good chance there. So I think Ole Miss at LSU will be a big game for the Tigers this year. Another big game also in Baton Rouge will be the Alabama Crimson Tide at LSU. That will be coming up on November the 9th. Again, like we mentioned, the Ole Miss LSU game, always very fun. We've seen some very entertaining Alabama LSU games over the years. Last time the Crimson Tide was in Baton Rouge, it was an overtime game, and it was LSU going for that 2-point conversion and getting it to win 32-31. Their successful night for Brian Kelly and LSU. So Alabama coming back into to Tiger Stadium, wanting to get a win, especially after what happened last time they were there. I think Alabama will be in contention for the SEC. I think they'll be in contention for the playoff. They usually are, and I don't think that's going to change. And so I think this is going to be huge for LSU. Again, another game. It's on down the road from the Ole Miss game, but if LSU can put some things together and get some wins, this game is going to be very important. Again, against a team who I think will be in contention to make it to the college football playoff, the 12-team playoff. So Alabama coming to LSU. Again, that is a tough place to play, so this could be a huge game for the Tigers if they want to be in contention as well. And then the third biggest game I think for LSU this year is another home game that they need to take advantage of, and that is the Oklahoma Sooners coming in to wrap up the regular season on November the 30th. So the Sooners' first year in the SEC, and they've got the tough task of going down to Baton Rouge to take on the LSU Tigers. You got again the conference newcomer coming in, and Oklahoma's got several tough road games. They'll learn right off the bat what SEC play means, and especially I'm sure this will be a night game there in Baton Rouge, but certainly will be another game that LSU needs to win, get some momentum. Oklahoma's going to be a good team. They're going to be good offensively. I think they're putting the pieces in place to be good defensively as well. And so this is going to be a very good team coming into LSU. And we've got a lot to learn about the Tigers, but I think, again, with it being a home game, with the pieces that they do have, I think this will be a high-scoring game. And I think this is a game that LSU really needs to win to kind of put a cap on the regular season and give them some confidence heading into what hopefully will be a bowl game for the LSU Tigers. And so those are the three biggest games I think for LSU this year. And notice they're all home games because I think that definitely plays in on LSU's side, even if they may not be the most talented team on the field in a particular game. If it's in Baton Rouge, it's going to be a tough place to play for the opponents. And so those are the three biggest games for LSU, I believe, this season there for the Tigers. And we'll continue to do this for all 16 of the SEC schools, give you our thoughts on the three biggest conference games for each team in 2024. We got you covered on all things SEC football. Subscribe to our channel. Like this video, share it with your friends, spread the word about Southeastern 14. You can also follow us on Twitter at 14 Southeastern.